previous conversation, you used to like to work with children.
Exactly.
And because of the fact that you could, you have both languages, English and Spanish, you was able to translate, you was able to read, you was able to help the children.
Yes.
So, following the story that we have been talking about before we started recording, it was through the children that we started making, that the Church of God of Prophecy, as Adrian, as you said, was Adriano. Give us a little bit background of Adriano. He came from Haiti, is that what you said?
Yes, he came from Haiti and he organized the Apostolic Faith. And we used to call him the elder.
Okay.
And he preached in such a way that he would convince the people and they begin following. And then today what we are calling the kids in the church, they were getting saved too. And they would testify and they would sing and the elders used to get saved.
Okay, if I can just interject now, was he, since he came from Haiti, was he Haitian or was he English?
No, a Haitian.
He was a Haitian, but he could speak English.
He was a Haitian priest.
He was a Haitian priest, and he could speak English as well as French.
And French.
French.
And English.
Okay, and English.
Yeah.
So when he would come here, he would preach in English, and
English.
Someone would interpret for him?
He began in English, and the English people would talk for him. And right off, he continued on in the Spanish, and he was right off in the...
Okay, because when he first came from Haiti with the message of the Apostolic Faith Church, he would first come to the English-speaking population of the area. He didn't come first to the Spanish. The Spanish come a little later. Is that correct?
No, they follow up immediately, they believe.
Okay.
They went and they looked at it and they felt for this man preaching and the preaching, and they get him and speaking to them about, because nobody here was speaking about sin.
Okay.
And the people feel convinced.
Okay.
And youth and old begin surrendering to God.
Okay, the apostolic church that he was preaching from, what kind of church was that? Was it a formal church? Was it a spirit-filled church?
Spiritual, until today the same old form.
Okay.
Spiritual, consecrated,
Okay.
no medicine, no nothing.
Okay, all right. Now, when he would come, would his wife come with him, or he was not married?
No, he was married, but he never come with his wife.
Okay. When he would come, he would stay 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or how was his trips?
No, he come and stay. Yes, he come and stay, and he go and come, and they kept him in the country.
Oh, they kept him in the country?
Yes.
Because he had to have a special permission to get here.
Exactly.
And the English population that was connected with the apostolic church was the ones that had invited him or was sponsoring him.
Sponsoring him.
Okay.
And they signed for him.
And they signed for him to be able to be here, which was part of the immigration system.
Yes.
All right. Now, with that system of visiting and staying, then you made mention that he had to go back, that he could not stay in the country. He had to return back to Haiti. Why could he not stay? Was it because the apostolic faith kind of turned against him or something?
Turned against him. They excluded him after he took medicine, because the doctrine was not using medicine.
Oh, okay.
And a sister gave him a medicine.
All right.
And for a headache.
Okay. And so they used that against him.
Constipation. I don't know if you would all like to say constipation in the writing.
That's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
Sure. And so they just gave him something to him to be able to relieve himself. Okay, and then because of that, they rejected him and they told him to go back to Haiti because he was not faithful to the doctrine of complete sound healing all the time. Okay. Now when he went back to Haiti, as we had previously been discussing, it seems like you said that when he went back, that he was able to get hold of a track somehow. He got hold of a track.
Before he tried to come back.
Yeah, before he tried to come back while he was in Haiti after he had been sent out from here of the apostolic faith, rejected him. And he went back to Haiti. I believe you said that he discovered or got hold of or somebody gave him a track. Okay.
J. Vital Hearn.
Yeah, J. Vital Hearn of Haiti, who was the overseer of the Church of God and Prophecy, somehow helped him get a track.
A track with the doctrine and everything.
That explained more or less some
doctrine. What of the doctrine?
Yes, the 29 teachings.
29 teachings.
The 29 teachings, and that track, if I'm understanding it right, helped Adrian to be able to start thinking about that there was something beyond just the apostolic faith that he had been connected with.
Exactly.
Okay. Then after that, how did he get back into the country now? That is, from Haiti, now that he's got the track, he has the track of the Church of God of Prophecy, but he wants to get back into the country. How did he get back into the country?
Well, he wrote a letter to the school teacher that I told you about.
Yes.
I was her assistant.
Okay. And what's her name again?
Rebecca Martin.
Okay, Rebecca Martin. Okay.
So I had to translate what it said.
Okay.
Because from the Cancilleria, we call it.
Yes.
They send a letter to us, and they say that the only way he can get back is by having a group working in the country. The people be working in the country, and then those groups that will work with him, one must be a Dominican too, for the church to be organized.
All right. Okay.
So when he sent back, they sent back the answer to Cancilleria.
Yes.
But then he wrote the teacher and tell him about the missionary band and the different offices in the church.
Okay.
And he said, and the youth, which is called the Victory Leader Band. And like I was the elder one there with them, she appointed me as leader among. And every Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, we begin our service.
Okay, now, the one that appointed you, was it Adrian or this other sister that Adrian was making connections with?
No, it was Rebecca Martin. As she get the track and being educated, she read and say, let us have all this prepared for when he comes.
Okay.
That's the way, but not that it was officially organized.
No, it was the pre-preparation.
Exactly, to receive it.
Okay, that's wonderful information. So when Adrian comes back now the second time after he sent the tract to Rebecca, and she read, and she said, well, we young people. Now she's going to organize the young people, and she appointed you to be the leader of this little group of young people that, from what I'm understanding, you were all getting very interested in serving the Lord, even if at that very moment you may not have fully given your heart to God, but you was getting closer and closer to giving your heart to God.
Yes, she had us controlled.
Okay.
And we couldn't do this, what the other do, and what the other do.
Okay.
So we was walking like that.
Okay, now, Rebecca, was she a former apostolic faith person that Adrian had connection with? Was she a member of that group?
Yeah, she get saved, but you know, with all her gist in her, and she look at the people that don't know how to read and things, and so you know. And they used to say that she isn't saved, but still she was the one that could sign, because she was working with the owners of the sugarcane estate.
Okay.
So she signed for him to
And
come.
she was able to sign.
Okay. So she was the main contact.
She was.
Okay, so when he came, he found the little group that Rebecca had been working with, the young people,
Yeah.
and she had appointed you as the leader of the little group working under her.
Under her in the house.
Exactly. So you was working with her, this little training and praying and reading the Bible group with the young people.
With the young people on Fridays afternoon. And Sister Ladu
Was
she
part of that group, is that right?
She was the important part of the leadership. Though Brother Ladu was appointed, he never knew what to do. She was the woman.
Okay. She was the one that really knew.
Oh yes, she was the one that
Okay,
continued.
during this time, what we, and with due respect, that we now remember him as Papa Ladu. Papa Ladu was not getting too involved in this. He was just letting Mama Ladu go ahead
Yeah,
and
that's it.
you know, do the thing, but he was just standoffish, as we used to say. You know, not too involved. You go ahead and do your thing, and I'll do my thing. Is that about? So when Adrian comes now, about what approximately was the time when Adrian starts coming back the second time with the permission that he now has from Rebecca, which is different than the first time when they rejected him.
Yeah.
Okay, about what time would this be? 1940, 1941, or to the best of your memory?
That time when 19, because we had 47, in the 30th.
In the 30s.
Yeah, we have to look about in the 30th.
Yeah, it had to be in late 30s, I believe.
Late 30s.
Yeah, in the late 30s, because some of our records seem to indicate the late 30s. So that was just trying to coordinate as your memory would serve you in some of the records to be able to verify. Okay, so when he comes the second time, he does not come with his wife. He comes alone again.
Alone.
Okay, so about this time, about this time then, when he comes back in, he now finds yourself as the leader. Sister Ladu has already started with the group of young people. It is a good little group of young people, and you're the leader. All right, about what time after he comes in does Papa Ladu start coming into the picture? About what time? 6 months after, 3 months?
Yes, he never stayed no longer. Not longer, because they was living a very holy life, well consecrated.
Yes.
But only the difference of the name of the religion.
Yes.
And then he began to do all that he could. So his work, what he used to do to maintain, but he loses his job.
Who's that, Papa Ladu or?
Yeah, Papa Ladu loses
his
his
job.
job immediately.
Oh my
And
goodness.
he began to follow with the Lord.
Okay.
And he know to make the crochet thread.
Yes.
Know to make some leather belt for the male.
Okay.
And he used to make that, and that he live off of.
To be able to sell it.
To be selling
Okay.
and help in the church. He worked for the church.
Okay. He started immediately joining. First, he joins the little group that has started with Sister Rebecca and with the young people.
They
It's
used
very
to call
important.
it, excuse me, call it prayer meetings.
Prayer meetings.
From
Okay.
homes to homes.
Wonderful.
And in the morning, 5 o'clock, prayer meetings, serenades, and he with his cornet alone, boop, 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 and everybody that believe in him with his cornet.
Okay.
And when June comes, the district convention, he's running all over the street with the people, a great march
Yes.
with that cornet.
Okay, now, about that time when Adrian now comes back in, since he's had connections with J. Vital Hearn, who was our overseer in Haiti, he's now coming back in, connected already with the Church of God of Prophecy.
Yes.
Okay, so as he comes back in, he's now coming in, not necessarily talking about the apostolic.
No.
He starts talking about the Church
Church
of
of
God
God
and
of
holiness,
Yes.
live clean, And
The
was that
29 teachings.
okay? Now, if I can just go back a little bit, the first time he came as apostolic holiness.
Yeah.
Did he, when he first came the first time, talk about the baptism of the Holy Spirit and speaking in tongues, or it was the second time when he comes?
The second time, but can I tell you how we get it?
Yes, okay. That's what we want.
Well, listen, after Brother Johnson organized and the rest of it, what happened to him is that he never had the Holy Ghost. And according to his mouth, he said Brother Johnson asked him about Holy Ghost. And he said no, he just, but very consecrated,
Yeah.
people getting healed and the rest of it.
Yeah.
And he used to, when he going to praise God,
Uh-huh.
he take out his kerchief from his white kerchief and he wave it in the air,
Okay.
praising God, and the people begin to say that's witchcraft. He passed all that suffering.
My.
But we continue praying because it
But
was
that
God.
was Adrian.
That was Adrian.
And they would say using witchcraft because he would use the flag, I mean the little handkerchief.
What happened when he do the handkerchief and begin to cry, because he used to cry a lot.
Okay.
The people begin falling too and crying.
Okay.
That was something.
Yeah.
And the people crying to the altar and
Uh-huh.
crying for sin. So the Episcopal teach
Uh-huh.
that the people that would cry and would fall, it's because they are in evil,
Yes.
and they are serving the devil.
Yes.
But it was people praising God. But it was a love. It was something.
Okay, now do you remember when Adrian received the baptism of the Holy Spirit? Because he confessed to Brother Johnson that he probably confessed to Brother Johnson he believed in the Holy Spirit, but he hadn't been speaking in tongues.
Now, well, listen, excuse me. Now we believe in the Holy Spirit. So now the church is organized,
Yeah.
and he is invited to the General Assembly.
Okay.
And when he come back from the General Assembly, he told us how great it was,
Uh-huh.
because they put him in a room to pray, and when he began to pray, he began to talk in another language.
Wonderful.
And I always remember that part. And sometimes people come to me and they cry and they hear in the church and say, okay, I have my room there, let's go to the room.
Yes.
Let us close the door. And they receive.
Wonderful.
And
Wonderful.
sometimes I separate them with me and I call them the church. I feel this be that cold. They call me sometimes 40, 50, receive.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
However, I don't know. So he received and he come back and he begin to,
Preach and teach them.
yes. And things was going on good. And but then he gone out to the capital.
Mm-hmm.
And when the planes them was throwing the tracks,
Uh-huh.
a gentleman came, and when he came to it, they sent back an answer to him from Cleveland, Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
and tell him to see Brother Adrian.
Okay.
And then, but it was in this way around a place they call the Soko and so. So the gentleman come and he and his mother, and they got saved.
Okay. Okay.
And that was okay.
Okay.
Well,
Now, before we lose this one point,
yeah.
now, between Samana and here, you know, some say Samana and somebody say here. Now, when I believe it was F.F. Johnson that organized the church.
Mhm.
Is that right? To the best of your memory,
Yeah.
it was F.F. Johnson. He was the World Mission Secretary.
One mission,
Okay,
exactly.
now, when F.F. Johnson came, to your best of your memory, he came to this area to organize the church.
That's what we had here.
Yeah, he came here because this is where the group was at.
But I want to remember, however, you'll get a name, I'll send it to you.
Yes.
In the street where the...
Wonderful. You can send me that information, you see, because that we need for the record's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so to the best of your memory, do you remember about how many were in the group when F.F. Johnson organized? I'm just believing that you was one of those that joined with F.F. Johnson. Did you join with F.F. Johnson?
They just told me that I had to, I was just with the youth, they had us separated from the
grown-ups.
Yeah, so we just on the route of the Friday.
Okay.
But then we had otherwise Emma van der Haas, Rebecca Dunlap, Rebecca Martin, and you get a name. I have it right there.
Wonderful. You can get it for me.
But it's okay. You get it. It was with 7.
7. So he organized with 7. Okay. And then how soon after that was you able to join? Because they wanted to organize with older folks.
Mm-hmm.
So when did they allow the younger group like yourself and Sister Ledoux, which was part of the young group, when did they allow you folks to join? Join the church?
To join the church?
Yes.
Well, they say when we get saved, they baptize us and we become members.
Okay.
But we were there all the time, the youth, because,
sure.
And we counted ourselves like one with the church.
Sure.
So Sister Emma and Harrieta Eyes and all the rest of these people, they was continuing bringing up the church.
Sure.
And then in 1 year, brother Thomas, you remember Brother Austin Thomas?
Yes, I remember Thomas, yes.
Well, he in Consuelo, the place where I was born, but
okay.
I was in school.
Yes.
He kept a campaign.
Okay.
And there, so the young people got saved and the souls get saved. But how they get saved? They said after they heard that Magory got saved, all the young people opened their eyes and they began to get saved.
Wonderful. Wonderful, because you was the leader.
You see, we were praying, but not exactly appointed leader, but only praying. Sister Martin, she remained before her children, them, leading them.
Sure.
She was the leader,
sure.
But they have us praying. Sure. And after they hear that.
That's wonderful. It's a wonderful testimony, prayer, and you.
Prayer.
From this wonderful story, we're hearing the value of either prayer and young people to help bring about the formation of the Church of God of Prophecy in the Dominican, which is a great legacy. Great legacy.
The lady that gave her house for the organization when Brother Johnson come, her name was Adela Palin. P-A-L-I-N.
Okay.
Adela Palin.
It was in her home.
Yes.
That it was organized.
And we call the street Calle Basan.
Okay, it was Calle Basan.
Yes.
And it was in her home again.
That the church was organized.
And what was her name again?
Adela Palin.
Spell her name again. Palin.
Palin. This P-A-L-I-N. Adela
Palin. Okay. So after the organization and Brother Johnson left, how much longer did Adrian continue to work before he left?
Well, he stayed. He was in the capital.
He went from here to the capital.
Yes, he take the part of his national office to the capital.
Okay.
And then they make him so vain that he began to fail in his consecration. And then he was this way and the other way, and the people and the criticism, and the capacity wasn't like today.
Sure.
So they appoint him. I don't know if it was the Guadalupe or St. Martin or somewhere, and he said he's not going. And after he refused his appointment, and then Brother Bates had to come in and was leading and putting things in order and teaching more of the church. He never appreciated that. And then after the change, Brother Bates, then Brother Ledoux come in.
Okay. Okay,
and
so
Brother Ledoux was about 20 years almost serving as overseer.
Okay, now about how old was Brother Ledoux? Let me back up. Brother Bates, after we had some difficulty with Adrian, and they had to remove him, and Brother Bates came in as interim overseer just for a short time. Did Brother Bates stay 1 year or 2 years? The best of your memory.
I guess that Brother Bates was about 2 years.
Because
rectifying and helping
yes, getting things in more order.
in more order.
Okay,
That's it.
so about when Brother Bates now helps the general overseer to make the decision to appoint Brother Ledoux, about how old was Brother Ledoux when he was appointed? About.
Brother Labu had to be now about 50 years now. He was a man.
Okay, so he was up in age already when
Yeah, he was
they
up in
appointed.
age already, and he could, we love him, we have him, but he don't consider nobody, everything get him irritated, and that was something. When you came, he said, Maggie, look over there and see what he can say. Anybody but come in, see what they can say. And I remember Brother Ortiz, when Brother come and say, Sister Hardin and all those people.
He was at times a little hard to get along with.
Very hard. Up to today, the people that will be saying, if it was Brother Lou, he won't act like that. She won't act like that. But no, it's not different. What I do is when the people have a complaint, I tell them to come, and I make pray.
Sure.
I make them pray. And I say, speak the truth, because you cannot pray with the lie. Speak the truth to the Lord.
Sure.
God be blessing us.
Well, the work began to grow more under Brother Ledoux than Brother Adrian. And naturally, the short time that Brother Bates was here, he was, like you said, rectifying and getting things in order, getting things set up in a more proper way.
Exactly.
So, when Brother Ledoux takes over, what was the thing that helped Brother Ledoux to begin to expand the work more? What was one of his abilities to be able to do that?
Well, his ability, make himself friendly with the people, invite them to the church and the Pentecostal movement. He used to come from there. When their meeting is over, they come in and sing and pray. And then we go in the countryside,
Okay.
in a place that we call Chicharrones. Our pastor there 7 years. Consuelito, and then Cañelagua, where those Rodriguez family are from. Well, what I'm telling you with him, one time we went to Cañada del Agua. This is something to be registered. And when we reach in the road, the straight road to go, we have to stay there, and we have to get in there, and the horseback. There come the horseback for Ledoux and one for Brother Thomas.
Okay.
A terrible shower rain, and those two ministers get down wet.
Okay.
We reach to Cañado del Agua, they have no more clothes to put on. And they couldn't go to keep no service, they had to stay in a room closed up.
Oh my goodness.
Open up those clothes.
To get them dried out. So
and next day never dry out yet because the countryside would rain.
Yes.
And then next day, Brother Thomas and Brother Ledoux said to tell you, try and help them get these clothes in order. They sent them to me, and 2-3 sisters with me. We pulled the iron that we used to use long ago with coal.
Yes.
And they and they pan, and it and dry them, and so they get to come out when they are.
Those are wonderful stories.
Listen,
Now, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we have Adrian, and then Adrian fades out because of one problem or the other. Then Brother Bates comes in. All right. When Brother Bates comes in, is this the time when Brother Thomas appears, or did Brother Thomas started when Brother Adrian was trying to get the work
When
going.
Brother Adrian was there, he came
Okay,
in too.
tell me a little bit something about Brother Thomas.
Well, I would tell you, Brother Thomas, he was an angel of
Full
purity.
name. Full name.
Yeah,
Do you remember his full name? I remember Brother
Austin
Thomas.
Thomas.
Austin, okay.
Austin Thomas.
Okay, go ahead. All
And he
right.
was very consecrated.
Mhm. Now, was he a native Dominican or was
From
he
St. Kitts.
from St. Kitts too? Okay, and
So-
he came over with the sugar industry, the
Yeah,
same
they
thing?
come on those islands, but
Sure.
and those countries where you have a back way,
Sure,
you see some countrysides are we.
okay.
And he had the church in prayer all the time.
Okay, when Brother Thomas, when Austin Thomas comes in, was he already connected with the Church of God of Prophecy, or was he connected with the Apostolic? Or how was this?
That he was saved with the apostolic,
Okay,
but the apostolic is what doesn't up to today. It doesn't go all over the place in the countryside of the Church of God and so.
okay,
So he get across in the countryside, and he come into the Church of God.
okay. So he met the Church of God here
Yes.
in the Dominican. All
And
right.
he was living in a place we call it Bejucal.
Bejucal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he gets saved. But Brother Thomas, listen, he lived a life. He was a saint. Where he stand up and say, hallelujah, the souls are getting saved. But there came in a problem. He and Brother Tom and Brother Ladu, they went to the General Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
And when he heard, you see, because the problem was that Sister Ladu doing the major work.
Okay.
Sister Ladu.
Okay. She was the real worker.
She was, brother.
She was
Okay.
the power behind the
I'm
office.
telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, when he heard in the assembly, Dominican Republic, Joseph H. Ladu,
It affected Brother Thomas.
immediately threw him out
Oh my goodness.
because he was Brother Ladu's superior.
Okay. All right.
He was the man. Brother Ladu was only an overseer, but Brother Thomas was the preacher. Brother Thomas was everything.
So Brother Thomas, was Brother Thomas older than Brother Ladu? Was he a preacher longer than Brother Ladu?
A preacher.
He was a preacher longer
No.
than Brother Ladu? In other words, he had been preaching more than
No,
longer.
he wasn't out here preaching. He
Okay.
come to the church, and all of them raised up in the church.
Okay.
You see?
Yes.
He raised up a preacher in the church.
Okay.
She said he was superior. How does that work?
Yes, in other words, he was
You know what I mean to say superior?
a
You
superior
know what
leader.
become and the leadership, and then his understanding,
Yes.
his reading, his going, his movement, his ideas.
Mhm.
They was different. Brother Ladu, he wasn't so capacitated.
Sure. Okay,
You see?
now that affected him, and when they come back from the assembly, and Brother Ladu, Joseph Ladu, has been appointed, and Brother Thomas Austin is disappointed. Shall we use that
That's
word?
the word. That's
He was disappointed. Okay.
But he had reached up so superior that he thought he would be.
Yes. Okay. So from that disappointment, what begins to develop?
Well, he began to walk and act a little different, but then he couldn't broke out that spirituality what he had.
Yes.
He continued to and fro,
Sure.
crying out in the name of the Lord, and then people began to look at him more. But he couldn't stand it anymore. Maybe a year or two, he got off and he began his own church.
Okay, Brother Thomas begins his own church.
Yes.
Okay,
He
now.
called it the Church of the Living God.
Okay, now that group that he started, did it survive? It is still going on here, or did it eventually die out, or did it join something else?
No, they didn't die out. What happened with him?
Mm.
He went and he began his meeting, and telling the kids them there, and begin to about making report and what they can do this with the tithes and to do that and do that. And I have a little, the one what remain preaching up there now, a young boy of the church up to the day, which was of the kids of the time of Rebecca Martin.
Okay.
So the case he was that time was 9 years old, where he remained open as church and responsible for the church.
Okay.
And then when Brother Thomas called upon them, they told him, no, we are not going to listen to you because you bring in something else.
Okay.
And they stood back and they never united with him, and he had to come back to the town and begin something else.
Okay.
Because the kids them, they was well planted, they never mean to leave the church.
Sure.
But then he already throw them back. You understand?
Sure.
In that time was like in the first or second year, Brother Wright.
Okay.
J.B. Wright.
Okay. J.B. Wright begins to come to the Dominican.
Yes.
Would that be something in the early 50s or the middle 50s that J.B. Wright begins to come here?
Around in the 50s.
In the 50s, I believe so.
Yeah. When he come, and he told Brother Ladu, go and pick up those kids and don't leave them alone. And Brother Ladu said, they are well trained and they know what the church is, and if they want to follow him, let them follow, but I'm not going, and he wouldn't go. That's the way he was.
Yeah.
Get it? He used to act that way.
Yeah.
And he ever go, nobody go to pick them up, and they stay there and make their own church.
Bye.
We lose that church easily.
Oh.
So,
But now, when Brother Wright begins to come, that's when BTI begins to come.
exactly.
But back in those days, it was
The BTI.
BTI, BTC.
No, the BTC.
BTC. They
Yeah.
used to come, and that's when I think I'm right on this. Brother Wright really gets a burden for the Dominican, and he
Yes.
almost comes every year.
Every year.
And he helps. I think he helped Ladu a lot.
He did, because Brother Ladu had no help. He was.
Yeah.
And the people them like couldn't go forward to him. No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
His secretary, I will tell you now, which was Margarita Carty. Margaret Carty.
Cardi. Yeah.
You remember, there was a little young girl, and she come to me, she said, you know something? I can't understand the overseer. I said, what? I'm his private secretary. But when a letter comes from General Headquarters from Radames, he goes to you before he comes to me.
Because you was the translator. You was the interpreter.
And it was the person to tell him, no, brother, let us pray.
Yeah.
And let us this and so on. But afterwards, Brother Radames did like that. He get rebellion over me. He said, no, because she thinks she know it all. No. But what happened with me, I wanted to let you both know. When I read something in the Bible, I used to write Brother Thomason and ask him, please to let me know what this means to say. And he would send and tell me. Sometimes he sent me almost a sheet of text of the Bible.
Yeah.
And he used to say, after the missionaries come in and see me, they call me, he used to call me, my little girl. I want to understand so.
Yes, okay.
So I innocently let them know, but Thomason explained me this and that, brother. They begin to say, I used to write letters to Brother Thomason against what I suffer. I'm suffering. And then I said, no, I did. So I called Brother Thomason. I said, Brother Thomason, have I ever sent you a letter against any of your workers? No, but they have a letter where I said that. I said, yes, he said, my little girl, don't be afraid. I will never send a letter. If you would send me one, I'll never send it back.
Okay.
And I stay like that.
Okay.
And that keep me grounded.
Sure.
So after that, I don't know if you'd like to know why you stay or continue, because of
Okay.
continuing.
When about the time, tell me a little bit about when does Valera comes into the picture, when does Brother Vasquez comes into the visit? Because those are some of the early workers that begin to develop.
That, yes, exactly.
Okay, so when do they come in? Do they come in under Brother Ladou's overseership?
Yes, brother Valera, he come in under Brother Ladu.
And what about Brother Vasquez?
Ruben Vasquez was under the act. He was one of the workers, of serious people.
Okay, was he during the time? Did he come in during the time of Walter C. Bates, or did he come in after Ladou?
No, the time of C. Bates. I mean, say they were ministers working. Okay.
Okay, they were already working when Brother Walter C. Bates began to try to organize things.
The church, yes.
Okay.
You see, then Brother Valera, afterwards he got appointment to Nicaragua, somewhere over there.
That's right, Venezuela.
Venezuela and the rest of it.
Sure.
But then Brother Valera, when he come back to the country, this was a torment. He tormented me. I worked his whole year. Now you say, Brother Valera. I worked his whole years. He telling me the church doesn't have money, the church can't help nobody. And I work freely for nothing.
Yes.
But I'll go and come, I'll go and come.
Sure.
Brother Ortiz, at the last time, he began to want to send me there and send me the other way. And I'll go. When I go, there's a woman over there with issue of blood. The sister, go get her from the hospital, bring her. The doctor say he cannot leave her, bring her. And we pray when you look, the woman get healed.
Wonderful.
There's another one there, she come to the convention, he sent me representative. I said, Lord, this man sending me all about and I don't have money, but anyhow. When I gone to their place, wonderful work have been done in this country, you know.
Sure, oh no, I know that.
And
that's why we're trying to get the history.
When I gone now to this place in San Cristobal, we have the convention, and it have a lady, they have to tell her, this is this is that, the room. And when the evening dismiss, and when we come back to the night service, a woman standing to the door, and she begin to holler, what am I seeing? Oh, the leader of the ministry. Look, the pastor, I see him. And the people them know, sister, the woman get healed. She get there, and then they have me crazy, I don't know what. I have the soul come in and she shout and she run down in the church. She get back. It have go ahead.
Okay, you're doing great. Let me go back a little. Some of the older ministers, like Brother Valera, Brother Vasquez, Ruben Vasquez,
yes,
is probably before Valera, or about the same time. Before. Now, did Ruben, did he get saved in the capital, or he got saved
in the capital?
In the capital.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Brother Ruben gets saved in the capital, and you can write this down. When we going up and preaching in a place, in the capital, he was a military.
He was a military man.
And I'm telling you, and the militaries used to be out searching in the night, and American horses, they never had that. And I'm telling you, when we going up there, he was reminding me, I tell him I know all of it and I don't want to remember, because I was in my 25 years of age, and I have nowhere to go. And when we going walking under the trees, and you hear the horses coming behind you, and when the service is over, and he would ask, who are walking over there? And we saying, no, we are Christians. And he just give the joke over it. Okay. I was one of the young people walking. I was the youngest among all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, see?
So we have to remind him.
Yes.
That he didn't behave very nicely. To put it in a nice way.
Well, now take this part, like you say, Brother Valera.
Okay.
This convention that is over, that closed. But before it had the youth convention.
Okay.
And Brother Braleda said like this. He passed in front of me. Next to the back was the ministers, and I was to the end. And he asked the ministers there, would you all permit me to give that lady a kiss? And they said, yes. So he came and he kissed me.
Okay.
And when he said, that's what you wanted. I said, what? He said, look how up there, you remember the boy in Elias? The presbytery, they brought a lot of ministers came, Americans, they was there.
Okay.
Yeah, last year or year before.
Okay, yeah, when they had the presbytery.
Yes,
the presbytery, when they installed.
Exactly.
When they installed Ben.
That's installation, that was right, that's the word.
Yeah.
And then and Elias,
yes,
he bring all of them. This is Mother Horus. She's the one that visited them. And begin all those people, I felt so bad.
Well, they were honoring you. They were remembering that you was a mother of the faith.
And then one of the men of the Americans said, but my grandma was the national Sunday school secretary also. And then I know he said, well, that's the one. I know, okay, they went back. Now this convention come.
Okay.
Brother Valina, he gonna calling me again and say, what's wrong, brother? He say, I'm seeing you looking at me like I'm nobody, but remember, if I come to the Church of God, it's you. If I not to walk in the Church of God, it's you. If I stay, I say, but brother, I'm not doing nothing. But it is that all of them want us to greet me one time. Sure. They have seen me in every movement now.
Sure.
And then he said, but he can't forget of the way. And even still, I'm still, brother, the answer that I give all of them is that I'm in love with the Church of God.
That's wonderful.
And this time, one came, just like you said just now, sister, can you lend me your VC? And you went into the VC, a sister come. Yeah, before the last thing. I said, Tammy, please, I said, but listen, I have people I can't attend to, people speaking to me and people saying, and no, because of your work, please let me go in. When she got in, when she come back, those little hygienic towels that you lose?
Yes.
She come in, she say, I messed up your PC. I say, yes, but never mind, because the tanks of water there and I have water sufficient.
Sure.
No, it's not messed up. Look, I felt something coming out. Look at it. A big cancer. A cancer in the womb.
What about
My
that?
goodness.
Listen, I was frightened. Now, believe me now, brother, I've been passing frights all these last times now that I'm sitting here and people coming to me. And then it was 12 o'clock in the night. I couldn't take nothing to my stomach, but this thing goes. And then I said, go home and let your husband see you. Let it take you to the doctor. No, I'm not going nowhere. You wasn't talking to me about God and healing and the rest of it, but this is it. And another one, the children are telling her that why when she go to the bathroom, it's like this. I'm telling you of things of these last days,
Wonderful. Recent things.
Well, maybe God don't allow me to stand up on this feet because maybe I take the glory from Him. I thank Him.
Sure.
Because I may feel like it's I am doing the work and not I.
No, it's the Lord doing it.
But I want the people then to testify of the works of the Lord. The Pentecostal movement giving you a fooling of prophets and they're using those things. When they want to be helped up and they need, they call me. They
Thank
come
God.
to me and I tell them what I learned.
You've got good history. You've got a good record.
My
Now,
Lord.
can you remember when you received your first minister's license signed by Brother M.A. Tomlinson?
But sure, I get it, But there was a great talk about, I'm too young. She's only a little girl because I was a little young girl, but
How old were you?
I
When you got your license?
got saved when I was 20. And my license, in the 2 years' time, they handed it to me because I was working already.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
And they give it to me.
So in about 46 or 47, you received your license.
Yes, 46.
46.
But see what will happen now? Now, Brother Lord want me to do how he say, and I can't. Because he have a lot of attacks. He talking like the face, and he's doing this, that, and I can't. I don't know what to do. Then Brother Bates come, and I'm pushing and helping Brother Bates. And Mr. Labu, he take my license. I never get it.
You took your license?
I took it. Listen to this, my brother. This is something so cute. So, he took my license, but he's still talking nice and like me, but he won't hand me my license. And then Brother Thomason sent me a letter. I told him what's wrong. And he said to me, Sister Henry, my little girl, don't you worry. Just go and tell Brother Labu to give me a license. I said, me, I'm not going to this man because everybody running from him, and I'm helping him. I don't mind. And when he died, and Brother Garcia began to turn up in the book, my license is there, new brand.
So he gave them to you?
He gave them to you.
He gave them to me. But it is.
But they were never revoked. It's just he took it and held it.
He took them heavy.
But you still had your license.
Yes, because I've been, and when they said appointment,
Yeah.
Sure.
and walking, well, I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I was going through all the time.
Well, you don't even have to worry about that because you never lost them.
No.
Because he just held them.
You
Sure.
see? So I continued it like that, and until the day of today. I never
Thank
yet.
God for that.
You
Thank God
understand?
for the wonderful, wonderful blessing.
Thank you.
You've been such a joy for me to talk to, and you put it in our records. And when you have those papers of some of the things that you have written down,
Mhm.
if you can get your son or someone to make photostatic copies
Yes, I do.
so that you can send me, and then I would have. I wouldn't ask you to turn in your originals because you may want to keep your originals. But if I can have a photostatic copy, it would help me to see what you wrote. So as you look through your things that you have, when you have a little more time,
Yeah.
you can look and send me anything that you would like to send me. Now, I gave my card to your son.
Yeah.
Walter has that. He has.
That name you could remember.
Oh
eh?
yes, Walter has it, and he can send me
And Milton.
all of that. And he has some wonderful pictures of you. And what I would like to ask is for Walter to put them on a CD for me, and he can send it to me.
He has a whole bunch of
You see, so
the
he,
church.
because there's so many wonderful pictures there. Because while I was interviewing you, I would keep kind of glancing over there, and I can see all those beautiful pictures. So if he would put it on the CD and send it to me, then I would have it, and from the CD, then we can use quite a few of them. So if you would do that, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
And I need a picture of you, and Walter probably has several wonderful pictures of you, and we would like to get a picture of you also, whichever one Walter would like to send to us. But Sister Ortiz took one.
I got one
Still
now,
right
but
now.
Okay, but Walter can send me several.
some more, yes.
You know, several, and so we can have that, and I appreciate that so much. Walter, if you can take a photostatic copy of her original license, because you have your license.
Yes.
Okay, give me a photostatic picture of your license, so he can send me that too. Okay?
Yes, but that license is.
That's all right.
Don't care if it's there, put away.
Well, that's all right.
It will be new brand, but however.
That's all right.
Okay.
What it is, and it's original.
Yeah.
And it's, you see, that's important because if you received your license around 1946, Brother Tomlinson did not become, M.A. Tomlinson did not become General Overseer until about October of 1944. So you would be one of the early ministers that would have his name on the license.
And my brother
M.A. Thompson.
M.A. Thompson, the old one or the new one?
No, the new one.
AJ, but when AJ,
okay.
that's the time we was kids.
Exactly. Exactly. So you would be one of the first, not the very first, but among the first license that Bishop M.A. Thompson would have signed, because he probably wouldn't have started signing licenses until maybe December of 1944, because he became overseer in October, and he was just barely, of 1944, he was just barely getting in the office. So it would probably be December before he ever started even signing any license. And so if you received your license in the 46, it would be within the first 2 years, less than the first 2 years, of him signing licenses that you received your license.
Do you know the number of your license?
No, I don't have it. No, but
because those numbers are according to when they were issued. Like if it's 115, that was the 115th license that was issued by him.
I'll look it up.
Well, when he sends me the copy, it will show.
You see, and when he began to talk, and Brother Garcia said to me, hermana Henry, ¿qué pasa? Mira esto, tus credenciales. Hace yo no lo quiero ver porque no lo quiero con firma de la luz. It was an error. But however, I never clasped my hand. This little boy, I tell you, I love him like my son.
This one here.
Ah, yes, he obedient to me all the time.
Ella dice que lo tiene a usted como un hijo.
Yo a ella como una madre.
Sí.
Bien, se portaba ese muchacho. Y tan pronto que tengo que trabajar un programa, una cosa, tengo su apoyo.
Seguro que sí, seguro que sí.
Entonces, agradezco esto, pero hermano, listen. I sleep on the floor, sleep in the street, walk from 15 and 20 kilometers to reach from one place to the other. All of this, get on the wagon of cane going and helping all the time. And the what?
Tú me has dicho la historia de San Luis y la tanta iglesia que están
Eso
es otra cosa.
You know, it's a...
Put it on again.
I haven't turned it off.
Okay, pues siga hablando.
De San Luis.
Un poquito más fuerte.
Ella fundó una iglesia en San Luis. Y de esa iglesia salieron como 10 que actualmente están ahí.
Para que vean.
Cada uno tiene un reconocimiento. Y ustedes lo van a ver ahorita.
Hablo
pero
duro.
ella tiene ahora que hablar de eso.
Ok, ahora, díganos de la iglesia que usted fundó y que ahora ha parido 10.
I would like
Y
that
cada
to
uno
be.
tiene 6.
I would like that to be there.
Okay.
Listen, it is that brother Adrian, he appointed me to Boca Chica. You know Boca Chica?
Oh yes, Boca Chica.
And I say now, to be an evangelist in Boca Chica, to do what? Where they have me instruct me on what to be done. But I had to go.
Sure.
Because I was ready with credentials.
Yes.
And I was in the second year in high school. I got a license for a school teacher, a first class.
Okay.
And this other second 2 years would be permission to go to university.
Okay.
You know, my little dress was, short and so. And when Aviel, Brother McGovern sent and said, what about evangelist? Because it's time for her to come. Because it was only he and his wife there.
Okay.
And he had a few afterwards. So when I went there, I reached, and a lady, a sister of a pastor of faith, ran into Brother McGovern's house and saying, Pastor McGovern, come quick. My daughter, Ine, she's dying. And he said, the people was prejudiced, the Christians in front. He said, I'm not going nowhere. You go if you want. So I said, well, let me go. I don't know the people, but let me go. So I ran across and I met the girl. and I begin to pray with her. She was a backslider, and she come back to the Lord.
Wonderful.
After that, and during the night, I went back, and the other pastor of faith went there with her, by her, and she don't want to see them. So I want her to stay and be with her. The next day I went back now because I don't know what to do, but I go in and come in,
Sure.
you see.
Yeah.
And the girl said to me like this, "Sister, you see that corner over there? It have a man always there standing up." I say, "Yes." I say, "But he could never stand up there unless you owe him. Please pay him what you owe him." She said, "Look there in that bag, please. And you know what you're going to see in that bag? 3 handkerchiefs that the Obia people use here."
Yeah.
Anointed cloths.
No, it was witchcraft. No?
Witchcraft.
witchcraft. Oh,
Witchcraft.
witchcraft.
Yes.
3 big, large, red, mauve, and yellow.
Okay.
And I said, "That's what he's looking for." He said, "I used to work with him." I took it out. I carried it to Brother Mark because I told me I don't know what to do, this little girl. And when Brother Mark scratched the matches to burn it, a breeze come and do so. It louded, pow. And then Brother Mark said, "Old Satan, you're going to rule me tonight. You're going from here." And he burned it up.
What about it?
When I come back, she said to me, "I want you to go to this place, they call it San Luis. That's Central Osama. I want you to go there because over there I have 2 more coaches which I work witchcraft for the employees over there."
Okay.
And the next week I went. He said, "And when I die, don't allow no one to light a candle here." Now I'm in trouble. She died, and when come with the candle, they do in big employees came over with some candles long like my hand, and when they're going to light, a wind come and out every candle, and the people begin to say, "A little girl Brother Henry McGowan have in his house won't allow us to light the candles." But right there I continue working in the Lord. So I gone over to the place now where she sent to me, and they won't deliver me those coaches neither. Well, it was from Saturday to Sunday, and I got 2 little children and a next young girl, and I stand up under the shade of a house, and I open a Sunday school. Well, the people, where they cook food and take the dirty tables in the place of the country people, I tell them to haul a table for me and lend me a wine. And right there I preach. The first night it had 150. And then they gone about in the place. That place was only under trees, bushes, no street, no nothing but a sugarcane estate.
Okay.
And while I'm there, I said, "I'm going to be back next week." The militaries, it treated the poor people such a way that no man, after 6 o'clock, no man in the street.
Okay.
And I went. And when I began to begin the service, my dear sister, when I was sent to come, it had 300 persons gathered there, sitting down there. And there come the captain of the military force, rushing his hands to the people. And I say, "Not one step. No man move from here, because you all don't know who sent me here." I say, "And so stand still, everybody." He ran the house, he ran the house, come back, and nobody moved. Then he ran it to come where I was. I was just 20 years. And he make the house hit me in my face. When he spoiled,
He was hitting you?
the house face. Those big black American houses.
Okay.
I told him, I only want to know who are you? But I said, "I'm not afraid, so you take it easy." "Okay, I know you now." And the next day, I prayed whole day, from 6 to 6. And in 8 days' time, the government sent and took him up with his 2 hands shackled. And now I'm afraid because the people are saying that I will send in to shackle him. And the men, all the men then begin to come out and walk in the street now and be men and women, everybody free.
Okay.
I told him and his house, I said, listen, my government department say that I'm free to preach, so I don't care. But listen what happened to me now. He come in an official car.
Okay.
And people down the light, I didn't let the people to move. And then now, what's going to take place now, I begin to preach now. I'll say Radames' son, little girl, but I'll say I believe now I'm a grand lady, and I gone to preach. And when I begin to preach, I talk from Genesis back to Revelation because I don't know what to do.
You're preaching everything you knew.
I talk, and the who else say and the overseer say, I must leave out that because that was Adrian.
Okay.
I must leave it out because the Church of God doesn't send no young girls named to preach. The passage was 50 cents, and he gave me the 50 cents and asked the chauffeur to take 40 cents. And I went in with 10 cents.
10 cents.
But I continue.
My goodness.
And listen, I begin to preach from Genesis to I don't know where. And when the people are all looking at me like that, now I get afraid. I get scared because everybody look, man and woman looking at me like that. I lift up my hands to the heaven and say, Lord, speak to those people and let them understand that you're talking.
Okay.
Listen, in the time I finished the word of God, the earth began to shake.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And from there the Church of God remained there.
Okay. What's the name of that place?
They call it Central. It's San Luis. They used to say for it is now it's Central Osama.
Central Osama.
Let me tell you what's taking place now with that. And after that's happened like that, when I went, and I said, I don't know what to do, and convention come, and I've been going still to the people, and the people used to give me the laughing to put the little passage one come.
Yeah.
And when I speak to Brother Adrian,
Okay.
he said, no, I'm not going to organize no church over there because it was nothing for him to see. But a lot of poor people, I'm sorry. But go in now and see it what it is. And what happened? Brother Montijo Gabriel,
Okay.
and Brother Thomas' son,
Okay.
Brother Quina,
Brother Queen.
they came into the...
You're talking about Senior Montijo.
Yeah, the senior, the old Montijo.
The old Montijo, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So when now they come, and the people are asking me what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do. So I went to Brother Montijo, and I tell him what happening. And he say, call Brother Quina. And when I call Brother Quina, and I speak to him, he say, and Brother Montijo, and translate and speak, he say, okay, where are the people them? Whether one or two, whoever they are, come on. And right there he organized the church.
Brother Queen.
Brother Queen, right there he organized that church. And it continued until the day of...
Do you remember about what year that was when Brother Queen organized the church? About
yes.
Right there at that location.
That location, it was about 46.
Okay.
Do you remember how many people he organized the church with?
The 7 were there, but I couldn't get them, and he said, bring those that they are. Come and stand, and he organized the church immediately.
Now that was the second he organized with 7, because the other one he organized.
No, Queen didn't organize.
No, but the other person organized the other with 7.
No, they didn't organize them all.
No, she's talking about when they organized, when Adrian was...
No, in those times Adrian organized with those
with
amount.
about 7.
But those amount was there, but like they never want, and they just...
But this was a new group.
The group that followed when I went there.
Yeah.
But then Adrian never wanted.
But it was Brother Queen that organized
And
them.
immediately he stood up there, he never called Adrian, he never nothing, whoop, 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 because I was his translator too. So Brother Queen when he come in.
Sure.
Okay, we know that. But see what take place with me now. Now November this year, this year, I get a message saying I must, this now,
2011.
2011, I must come because they want to give me a recognition.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Well, I get ready to go, and I went with my kids and the rest of it. When I reached, the church is all from 3 houses going down in there, the church is built. That's a town belong over, it's a big place. And when I hear from myself, I'm going in, the people are all dressed up in front of the church and around the church and in the church, and I'm singing and I thing. And when I reach to the church, I begin a clapping. Well, they call me to mourn and cry because I don't know what happened, and I begin to cry.
Sure.
And when I reach in, they sit me down and the rest of it, and they process and they proceed and they talk, and they gave me a recognition, no? What they call it? A plaque of recognition.
Yes.
And then 2 other women came, one with a bunch of flowers here, another one with a bouquet of flowers, and then they put a crown on my head. I'm still in trouble, I don't know what is what. And they called me to talk, and before I talk, and then they say, and we are honored now by the government with the municipio of the, how do you call it, ayuntamiento. Make me cry more, so what is happening? And they came and they talk, and they say, Marjorie Matthew, Olimpia Matthew Henry, today the government is recognizing you as a daughter of this center for the work that you have been able to do and this and that.
Wonderful.
And I remain being now from the 7th October daughter of that place.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Listen,
Can I get a copy of that?
I have it.
You know, I need a copy of all of that. Walter, when you
Enséñale
send me
ahora
that,
cuál
cuando me mandan eso, send me all of that.
Okay.
Send me a copy
You're
of all
going to
of
see
it.
the picture there.
He have some of the picture
But
there.
the
Yeah,
copy
what
of
it
the,
is.
the award.
I have it.
The reward. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then after they did that, when one of the people of the government stood up and he asked me not to be quiet because this isn't all of it. For in heaven there is something greater. I listened, that threw me down worse. Be laboring because God is going to give us more than what we are doing here for you today.
Wonderful.
But then you know it always have a little disagreeable charge. We say the disagreeable people like to say something.
Sure.
And a lady, a young girl that grew up now, she's 60 years. Say, no, she can't talk because she suffer. She moved. Say, every time you praise God, you are remembered. And I try to hush it up because we couldn't come and allow before those government people to make a disorder.
Sure.
And then, and I felt happy that the Church of God have been in. I've never seen it happen in the Republic again.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So I thank God, you know, and I pray to God. I ask the Lord to give me a little more days more, because it is that I want the people to understand the things of the church. They are, you know, the people, the children, what they have now from some age to 20 or look, you know what it is. I want them because listen, but because I want to let you know, our leader of the Sunday school of the prayer,
Yes.
the prayer secretary, and the altar worker too.
Yes.
They stayed there. All those charges remain to me, and I said, I wonder why. Let they take them with somebody. Well, Margarita put his wife for halfway, but the people still calling. But I still giving the advices, and I keep on praying.
Wonderful.
I don't want to, I know the changes,
Wonderful.
but I praying that help me to pray that help the people to build up the altars. They don't want to go to altar to pray.
And we need that. We definitely need.
But every cry, all the Adventists and the this and the that all coming to me, try to emphasize as I used to do when I was younger, but I'm trying to do it. And all what they telling me, give me your mantle. I want to serve like that. You used to work in the altar, but I don't have a mantle. I say, bury yourself before God and begin to work.
That's
And
right.
seek Him. But however, When any other thing else that I thought I would write you, I'll let you know.
Wonderful. Send me
And-
everything you can. We will treasure it. My heart's goal is to give due honor to our workers. Like you said, you traveled without money, without resources, without little backing, a lot of difficult times and persecution, but you planted seeds that are now beautiful trees, that are giving beautiful flowers and fruit. And we cannot let those kind of things just be said, fulana or fulano, without a name, without telling the story. And just talking about overseers does not give all the story. Overseers are important, and we thank God for them. We thank God for those that came from the general offices, but they did not do the work. They were visiting, they were encouraging, they were promoting. But Brother Queen would come for a short while and leave. Brother Bates would come for a short while and leave. Brother Wright would come for a short time and leave. But the workers did not leave, they stayed here. So we're so thankful that you've given us a little bit of your story. Now, if later on, when you're thinking a little bit more, and you have some more that you would like to send me, record it, put it on the recorder, and send it to me, okay? Because we've talked a lot tonight, and you may be getting a little weary, and maybe tomorrow you may think of something, or the next few days, oh, I forgot to say this, I forgot to say that. Record that, or have somebody write it for you and send it to me. Would you do that?
Yes, it's possible.
Did you
it's
give him the
possible.
card with your?
Yes, I gave it to
Yes,
Walter.
well,
So let's have a word of prayer. You've been so gracious.
yes.
I've taken a lot of your time, but I've been looking forward to this. And through the years, I remember when I started coming here, more or less in 1968,
Yes.
we was both a little younger. And I remember those precious years and how that you've helped always to translate for so many of the brethren that would come.
Yes.
You was the voice that made the message go across to be understood, and we appreciate that so much. And it's such a pleasure to be able to meet two of your sons. That is great, Milton and Walter. That is wonderful to be able to meet them, and your love for the church has meant a lot to the Dominican Republic, because the Dominican Republic has a reputation of loving the church, loving Christ and loving the church of God of prophecy, without people like you who put that love there. Because everybody hasn't always loved the church. But thank God that we've had enough wonderful pioneers, mother of the faith and fathers of the faith, that instilled in the Dominican that we must love Christ and His church. And we thank God for you. So I want to pray for you. Vamos a tener una oración ahorita, ahora. Yes, so we'd like to end this, and we're so thankful for the time that we have had with Sister Henry, one of the pioneers of the work in the Dominican Republic.
We thank God and we bless the Lord and pray for me, because I'm writing in papers and still papers behind there still. Wait, hold on, wait. Mire, jovencito, hay una tarjetita, hermano Cristino, ahí atrás. Tú recibiste una tarjetita que yo mandé allá. Déjame ver.
No.
Ya no le he mandado. Deja que el hermano lo vea. Aquí, dale, hermano.
Sister Henry, 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 24 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a long message.
Oh, yeah.
It's a long message.
A long message. You know, that's the way sometimes people come and they say, no, but they don't feel to go Lord, I feel so comfortable.
Sure.
Oh, man.
Sure.
Listen. Ay, 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 ay.
Pues entonces vamos a orar por ella y orar que el Señor siga bendiciendo y sus hijos, que Dios siga bendiciendo. Ha sido un tremendo privilegio y damos gracias al Señor que hermano Cristino y su esposa y su hijo.
Dígame quién es usted para conocer más.
Ay,
Muy
ay,
bien,
ay,
yo
ay.
soy